How's it guys, I'm Rowan from Radiant Healthcare, and in this video we're going to be going through a step-by-step process from unboxing your LifeViz skin analysis system all the way to generating a skincare report. So when you guys get your LifeViz camera system, it'll come in this neat little box here by Quantificare, and as well as you'll get this little informational packet with camera settings as well as guidelines. So all that is included in your camera bag is one LifeViz Mini attached to the DSLR camera, the Nikon strap. Please do attach this as this is very expensive equipment, your micro USB to USB connection, as well as your charger for your camera's batteries. So now that you've unboxed your LifeViz camera system, the first step is obviously to take some images, and this is how you turn the camera on. So the first step is obviously to turn your camera on. You can do so at the top of the device over here. As soon as you do that, you'll notice on the wall over there, 2 red dots. This is your distance gauge. So the closer that you get to the wall, you can see these dots overlap. This is the perfect distance from the patient, and the dots cross over once again. That is too close to your patient. Too far, perfect distance, too close. So now that the patient is standing in front of you, the next step is to make sure firstly that the camera's on, and secondly to flip the OV or live view switch until you see 2 images of your patient on the screen. So now you're going to be taking your first image. The first image is taken by holding the camera at around chin height with the 2 dots overlapping on the patient's nose. Stand in place until you do see the image on the screen. Then step 45 degrees to your left, dropping the camera down to around the height of your belly button with the 2 dots overlapping on the patient's cheek. Then return back to your neutral position. Now to take your third image, stepping once again 45 degrees, this time to your right, dropping the camera down to around belly button height and overlapping the dots on the patient's cheekbone. So one of the benefits of the LifeViz camera system is that you don't require any kind of plain or consistent backdrop. As you can see with the patient that we've now demonstrated on, this is the backdrop that we used, and this LifeViz software will edit it out. Your LifeViz software will be loaded onto the laptop. So as you can see here, this is the LifeViz icon. You simply select that and the LifeViz app will open. So now that you've taken your images and the LifeViz camera software is open up on the laptop, you simply need to connect your camera to the laptop. It's easy enough. You just open up this flap on the side of the camera and connect your micro USB that you found in the camera bag. Once you've connected your camera to the laptop, all you simply need to do is click on the camera icon at the top right corner. Once you do that, you'll see that the images you've just taken have been pulled across onto the screen. You'll see that your images have pulled across here. These images have already been computed into 3D. Please ensure that you wait for the system to compute it into 3D prior to actually moving it across here to stitch. If all these images are correctly aligned, you can simply click on the top black section over there. It drags them across, make sure that these images match, and then select the stitch button. Once the software has computed the 3 images and stitched them into a 3D model, you will see that your patient moves out of those blocks and now appears at the top grey bar. Your next step now is to simply select the home button in order to bring you back to this screen over here. Now what you would do is input the patient into the database. So on the top right hand corner, the stack of coins, simply select that and this screen will appear. In order to add a new patient, you simply select the Create Patient icon over here. The main information that you do need to include is the patient's gender, the patient's birth date, as well as the patient's skin type, and you do have the option of adding an email as well as ID. Once you have inputted this key information, you simply click OK. Patient's name will appear on the top left here underneath the word patient. What you need to do from here is select your patient's image and simply drag it across into this box over here. Now the patient's face will have moved from this grey bar and into the database over here like so. From here, Now you are ready to go and perform a skin analysis. So now the next step in order to generate a skincare report is simply select the patient until it is highlighted in the blue block. From there, on the right-hand side of the screen, you select skincare. Once you have selected skincare, this is the page that will be opened by the software. All that you are required to do is move a few of these landmarks in order to not include any of the hairs inside the region, as they will appear as wrinkles. So what you are able to do, you'll see on the right-hand side over here, the patient's gender, skin type, and age. This will then be compared to other patients within that same category. You do have the option of running through all the individual aspects on the left-hand side here. You will not only view it in 2D, but you are also able to view it in 3D. You will notice the color gradient scale on the right-hand side over here. 0 is average compared to everyone else in this category. Blue is relatively good. Red is relatively bad. Let's view this in 3D. Select on the top right over here. Now you'll see the different areas of the face in 3D. So that's below the right eye. This would be on the forehead. Again, this is in a color gradient, so the deeper the wrinkle, the darker the color. The patient here really does not have any major issues with wrinkles at all. Now we're going to go to pores. Pores, you have exactly the same color gradient that over here. You can select view in 3D. As you can see, this really does highlight the individual pores of your patient, once again using the color gradient. The deeper the pore, the darker the color. So what we can do as well is we go through each of the individual aspects all along the side here. You can do so as you wish with your patient. Next, we can just look at brown spots over here. Once again, viewing in 3D does tend to give the patient a bit more of a shock than what it would in 2D. As you can see, the pigmentation here is actually being highlighted. So brown spots is all your visible pigmentation on the surface. Red spots would be all your visible areas of vascularity and red spots on the surface. Brown areas here would include all underlying areas of pigmentation as well as the pigmentation on the surface. This is one of the best selling tools of the LifeViz, as patients are never able to actually see themselves in this kind of light. Next, we have red areas. This will be all your areas of underlying vascularity as well as inflammation. This is also great for your patients that possibly suffer from acne, rosacea, port wine stains. You're able to show them how their skin looks here, as well as the improvement from your products and treatments. And lastly, what we can do is select report. So now you don't need to actually go through each of these individual aspects. You can simply go and just click report. Now, as you can see, there is a calculation in progress. The system will also ask you to input certain landmarks, so please do watch the screen when you do this. As you can see, the system is requesting certain landmarks be made by you. Simply input one by the eye, one kind of where the ear actually attaches to the head, and one by the corner of the mouth. The system will once again ask you to do this for the other side as well. As you can see, once again, simply select input the landmarks right by the eye, by the ear, and by the corner of the mouth. So from here, you can see the report has been generated. The top section of the report here will be placed for your practice name, your contact details, address, etc., as well as a company logo. From here, you'll have your patient's name and images. On the right-hand side over here, you simply click on it. You can preload all your products, treatments, as well as add any comments that you would like to make. Then moving through the actual report, we click on the arrows here, and it goes through each aspect of the face, once again showing you relatively good or relatively bad with regards to the actual section it is looking at. So there's pores, oiliness, evenness, wrinkles, as well as your pigmentation over here. You can see the numerical values, so 126 is the actual individual number of pigmentation spots, and that consumes a total area of 8% of the patient's face. Once again, it goes through each aspect of the face, so you are able to see it from different angles. So in this case here, there are 82 spots of pigmentation making up 8% of the patient's face. On the opposite side here, we have 128 spots compared to the previous 82, which is expected since we do drive on the right-hand side of the vehicle, obviously resulting in worsened pigmentation on the right side of our face. And then at the end of the skincare report is just a little breakdown for your patients in order to see what the actual numerical values mean. So plus 10, we would be sitting at the top 2.5% of best subjects in that category, negative 10 sitting at the bottom 2.5% of worst subjects. From here, you do have the option of printing it directly, saving it as a PDF, or emailing it straight through to your patients. I'm going to show you guys the before and after aspect. So what you would do here, you can see here the patient came in for microneedling, and this is before the treatment and this is immediately after. So what we would be doing is select on one of the images so that it is highlighted in blue, hold down the control key and select the second image just as you would selecting folders on Microsoft. From there, both images are highlighted and you would select 3D viewer on the right of the screen over here. So once you do open 3D viewer, the system will automatically adjust and reposition the images in order to have them be a perfect comparison. What you can do over here, you can zoom in as need be. You do have a few different options at the bottom left-hand corner over here. When looking at, so if you select those 3 lines, you do have the option of anonymizing your patient. You can also have, there are different lighting conditions, so we can select photo and light, or we can select photo, or if the patient possibly is wearing makeup the second time round, you can select clay in order to remove the difference there. So let's just go back to photo and light. You can also move the patient's face using these viewpoints at the bottom left corner. So you can clearly see a difference between the before image and the after image, but in order to see a better comparison, you can select this block on the top right over here, and you can select the sliding scale. Otherwise, you can select a before and after block. I do tend to find that the sliding scale does work better to help patients see themselves. From the sliding scale, you can select and grab the point on this actual slider, and you can move it across between before and after. And then, so a nice comparison now would be to go to the lifting aspect, as this patient has had microneedling with radiofrequency done using our EndyMed system. If you have perhaps moved your patient's face in a position where you aren't actually able to view it correctly, on the bottom right-hand corner is the recenter views icon. It is just these 4 arrows. You select that, and the patient's face will be moved back towards the center, and you can zoom out using this tool. You can see over here, looking at the tightening aspect, exactly where the patient's face has been tightened. On a nice area over here, you're actually able to see the exact degrees. So there's 4.6 moles and 5 moles and 5.2 moles that the skin has tightened in an upward position. And to around her eyes, actually around 8.23 moles. So a nice aspect for your patients with regards to before and afters is obviously your skin assessment. That does sit at the bottom here on the right. Select skin assessment, and here you can actually choose between your underlying pigmentation or your areas of vascularity, or the normal images. A very interesting aspect here, after the treatment on the EndyMed system, you can actually see the decrease in vascularity. And you can go here, once again selecting your sliding scale tool over here, and you can see nicely the improvement in the patient's skin from the treatment. So guys, that is the LifeViz Mini skin analysis camera. If you are battling with any of the aspects that I have covered throughout this video, feel free to contact me over WhatsApp or email or give me a call. We will also be able to log onto your laptop using an app called TeamViewer, and there I'll be able to cover any concerns that you may be experiencing with the software.